Ciao amici, grazie per essere tornati. Thank you for coming back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel, Learn Italian for Travel. My name is Danielle, sono Danielle, and I am your Italian teacher. Sono la vostra insegnante di italiano. Today's video is not going to be an Italian lesson though. I am going to talk about continued language learning development instead. So I think it's something that's important because you are on this language learning journey, this Italian learning journey with me. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support. So I just want to talk about factors that can help you out, factors involved in language learning. So let's start off by, I think, one of the most important things when you're beginning to learn a language, and it's your frame of mind, your mindset. So the most healthy way to get off on the right foot in terms of learning Italian or actually learning anything new in life is to have what's called a growth mindset. So the growth mindset is the idea that intelligence and success can be achieved by anybody. And that is in comparison with a fixed mindset, which says that either you're smart or you're not smart. You're born with a certain level of intelligence, and that's it. So that mindset would say that some people are good at language, some people are just not good at language. And we don't want to support that theory. We want to get behind the idea of the growth mindset, the idea that the more that you put into this, the more that you study, the more that you're exposed, the more that you try and you fail, because failure is important in learning anything new, the better that you're going to become, the more you're going to develop, and you're going to achieve what you want, whether it be complete mastery of the language at some day. So also, it includes asking for help when you need it. That's an important aspect of the growth mindset. So I feel like that's the first step, just giving yourself that, oh, okay, I'm here and I'm doing my best and I'm going to keep trying, and I know that I'm not either this or I'm not, but there's many possibilities of me and my growth. So let's talk about some different aspects of learning language. Accent. I'm sure you've noticed if you've been studying Italian, you've been listening to videos, you've been hearing native speakers, watching movies, and you want to achieve that native sounding accent. And you notice maybe that some learners can achieve that. And so there's a couple different factors involved in that. One is that there's a theory that's called the critical period of language learning development. And it says that if you learn a language from birth up to age 10, you have maximum capacity for the most language acquisition and the most proficiency to lay that foundation down when you're young. And even they've extended the theory up until 17 or 18 years old. So if somebody has started studying the language or has been exposed to it at an early age, you'll notice that they can sound more native-like. Like my kids, for example, they did a Spanish immersion in elementary school. Starting in kindergarten at age 5, they were completely immersed. The teachers didn't speak any English. It was all Spanish. They were expected at some point to respond in Spanish, and they did. And they, in turn, both have really native-sounding accents when they speak Spanish. They have it down. They sound really good. But then there's even my father, who grew up with Italian parents, Italian immigrants, who spoke to themselves in the house in Italian, his two parents, but they never explicitly taught the kids, and they never asked the kids to reciprocate. But because my dad was exposed to it from birth on, when he speaks Italian, he's been actually studying with me, taking classes with me, he has the accent nailed down. So there's that. And then I think there's also just this aspect of personality that lets some people adopt the accent that they're trying to achieve. When I was doing my study abroad in Italy, it was in 1996. As I first arrived, I met the student who had been there the year before, and she had this beautiful accent. She sounded like a native speaker. And she told me it was because she spent hours and hours watching TV, watching Italian soap operas. And she had perfected her language, her oral abilities. So she was able to do that somehow through her personality or her perseverance or her listening, fine-tuned listening skills. And I know other learners as well in Spanish and Italian and other languages that are able to develop that native sound after continued practice. So it is possible, even if you've missed that critical period. And it doesn't feel very good to think that you've missed a window to learn a language, right? So let's not even go there, because all the time I have adult learners in my class who are taking the language for the first time and who do very well in terms of becoming proficient in the language and also the way that they sound when they speak. So let's talk about then comparing yourself to others. It's not something that you want to do. Everybody's at a different level. Everybody's coming from their own unique history. Some people might know another language, which it's helpful. I've had a lot of students recently in the past few years who are native Spanish speakers, and they have an easier time taking Italian than somebody who doesn't know Spanish. I've noticed this in my class because they have a foundation, the Romance language foundation. It's very similar. There's some things that are different, obviously, between Spanish and Italian, but it allows them to understand, to receive the language from that foundation. And I've been studying Spanish for the past year and a half, and it's been easier for me as well to learn Spanish based on my Italian foundation. So I was actually in class last semester. I was taking Spanish 3, and I was doing pair work with this one student, and he asked me why I was able to speak so well. And I told him it was because of my Italian foundation. It's really allowed me to understand Spanish pretty quickly and be able to speak it. But the other thing that allows me to speak Spanish well is that I am not afraid to use it. I am constantly reaching out to people in Spanish, whether it be people, friends in my community, in person. I go on language learning apps. I connect with native speakers. I really want to learn it. And also in that class, Spanish 3, I did all my homework. I'm a teacher, and so I know that homework, it can be a drag, right, for a student, but it's also very important for your language learning development. It's like math. It's like an instrument, anything like that. You have to practice, and then your practice allows it to become more solidified in your brain, in your body, especially with speaking. So homework is another, or studying, let's say studying, is another aspect of language learning. So I see sometimes things online about learn Italian in 24 hours or learn Italian in a week or these gimmicky kind of things about learning language. I'm not going to tell you anything like that other than you have to put some time into it. And you are, because you're here, you're watching this video, so I know that you already know that. Some people like routine, and it's better for them to carve out a little chunk of time every day, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not a learner like that. So what I'll do is I'll take a bigger amount of time, maybe an hour, and I'll spend a lot of time one day, and then I won't do it for a couple days when I'm studying Spanish or when I'm studying the piano, either of those two things. So whatever feels better to you, I would do that. And so the more that you expose yourself to the language, obviously the better that you are. And so the exposure can be multifaceted. I think it's really valuable if you're really trying to learn Italian for proficiency, so you can really understand the language and continue to grow, to be able to read it and write it and speak it. And so you can seek out various things, various resources that allow you to do that. Or maybe you're just learning Italian because you're going to Italy and you want to have phrases that you can have memorized and that you can say in those contexts. The problem with that, though, is when you have this memorized phrase and then you say it, and then the person responds back, and then you have no idea what they're saying, and then you have to resort to English. So the better, bigger picture, obviously, is more valuable. I know all of us are very busy. We all have very busy lives. We don't have a ton of time maybe to dedicate. So whatever you can do is great, because that's another thing about learning language and doing this thing, is that you want to be enjoying yourself. You want this to be a fun thing. This is an extra thing. This is not a job. And it's such a beautiful language, and it's such a beautiful, rich culture. So have fun with it. And don't make it this torturous thing that you have, I have to study Italian, but have fun with it. Watch movies in Italian. Listen to music in Italian. Go on these language learning apps like I was talking about. I use this one called Tandem, and I connect with native speakers, and it's super fun to meet people and to have these interactions. And then when you go over there, you'll have a friend that you met online. So there's lots of different things that you can do. With me, specifically as a teacher, I have these YouTube channels. I also have my book, The ABCs of Italian Travel, because I think it's important to see it written out, and to have the rules explained to you. For some people, it's more important than others, because everybody's a different kind of learner. But I appreciate the visual, the explanations, and that's why I wrote the book. I also have an Instagram and a Facebook page, Learn Italian for Travel, where I'll take a picture and I'll write a grammar phrase, and then I'll explain the grammar underneath. So if you do social media, you can tune into those just for like a snippet here and there of a grammar piece. And then also I do Skype classes. If you want more one-on-one instruction, you can contact me through my website, and it's obviously a really accelerated way to learn. An hour one-on-one with me, it will really help you out a lot if that's what you're desiring. And soon to come, I am going to develop an online class for intermediate and advanced levels. All the videos here on my channel are more beginning level, so this will be for the learner that wants to keep going, and I'll let you know as soon as I have that class finished. So hopefully this helped you in trying to understand your language learning process and be more gentle with yourself, and just, realize that it's all a process, and do what you can and keep enjoying it, because that's probably the most important thing. So grazie di nuovo, thank you again, e buona giornata, e come sempre buono studio. Ciao!